Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the review. You join us today at the lovely Boddingtons Reservoir, not too far from Daventry. Quite an exciting looking venue, Dave.
Big, innit? Eh?
Yes.
We like big waters, don't we? It's
Big everything.
Well, you do, but I mean it's spot on, isn't it? It's a bit different to what we've been doing so far, isn't it? And it's a venue that many of the country's finest feeder anglers have cut their teeth on, haven't they?
Absolutely. I mean, this is Steve Ringer's, you probably call it his home water. He comes here an awful lot through the winter months, does incredibly well. And a really interesting venue in terms of how people fish, a real patience water.
Yeah, we don't do it, do we? You don't do it, I don't do it. But I hear the lingo and stuff, and they talk about they've had six pulls and they've like weighed 90 pounds or something like that. Big fish and that sort of thing, and it's a patient sort of a waiting game job, isn't it? And it's not something we do a lot of, but it's not something I actually probably want to do regularly, but I have the utmost respect because having that sort of patience and also having the confidence that what you've got out there is going to do the job for you.
That's the big thing for me. You know, when you hear these anglers leaving the feeder out there for 40 minutes, sometimes longer, you know, it takes a lot of bottle to do that.
It's brave.
And in terms of tackle to review today, we've got 3 items that are a little bit different to what I would call the norm for this kind of fishing, haven't we?
Yes, there's probably a bit of a monopoly amongst sort of 2 or 3 big companies with regards to feeder fishing in this country, and the products we're reviewing today are probably a bit more of a foreign feel to them. Actually, they're probably brands that aren't based in the UK, so we don't see as much of them. But the equipment is still designed for doing the same job, and we're going to give it a real good test out, aren't we?
Absolutely. You say that. I mean, obviously Browning and Colmic. We've got the Browning Black Viper reel today. We've got the Colmic Airform whip. They're obviously foreign brands.
Yeah.
But Middy, not too far from me. They're down in Chesterfield.
Well, no, a Middy seem to have been around as long as fishing's been around, haven't they? And they've always been there. And I admit I don't know a lot about the company, except for their products have always been around. There's always been something going on, and they seem to be bringing out good products. And we've got now I've got to get this right. This is the 12.6 Reactacore XD feeder rod.
I think it's the XZ, but yes, close enough.
Nearly.
But it looks a cracking piece of kit. Shall we go, get it set up, have a fish, and I will actually tell you a bit more about Middy, because I do know a little bit about it. I can, you know, your education that you gave me on the last one about all things to do with, you know, well, everything really. I can hopefully return the favour.
I've forgotten it probably by now anyway.
Sounds about right, doesn't it?
Come on,
let's get set up. Let's do it.
Well, Tom, that caught us a bit by surprise, didn't it?
Didn't it just?
We were just thought we'd chuck it out and just get everything in place, and we'd barely, well, you hadn't even sat down, had you?
I hadn't even sat down, and round she went, and...
So we've got a substantial carp, feels like, I would say, on the end there.
Well, I had to take the clip off. It ran and ran.
Yeah.
And what was it, about the 60 yards, that first cast, I suppose?
Yeah, I think it's the first time you've cast 60 yards, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. You know me. It's a long chuck for me.
But that was, that was pretty impressive. So,
hey, it was obviously a good cast, though. It went round, didn't it?
They're the best ones. They're the best ones. But so the rod, you're holding the rod now. So you've been playing this for a little while now. It's action looks good on the rod, doesn't it? This is the Middy XZ Reactacore 12'6".
It is. Casting wise, obviously, we didn't want to disturb the swim too much, so we'll give it some big licks later. And show you that a little bit later on in the film.
Are we gonna have a
Once we've caught a few
Are we
fish.
going to have a competition?
We could have a competition,
You're
couldn't
a casting
we?
competition.
Action-wise, it's bloody lovely. I mean, it's always that catch-22, isn't it, between power and distance? But to me, that feels soft enough to absorb the lunges of the fish while having the power to cast. What I'm going to do, Dave, I'm actually going to pass it to you to have a little go with, just in case we don't get another bite, because you never know on these venues.
This will come off now, you know this, don't you?
Well, what do you think of that? I mean, to me, it's a mid-tip action,
Yeah.
but it does bend.
It's
to what?
you're in control, and you know it's got that power zone, hasn't it? You know, everything. But there's nothing it's bending right through the top there.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice enough. The thing is with these rods, you know, it's they're designed as a power rod, you know, as a long distance rod, and so it's got to have that power.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get a soft right through action.
No.
But what you're getting with that is certainly a halfway action, I'd say, aren't you?
Absolutely.
That's bending right through.
The power on the cast does come from the butt midsection, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah.
So you do need a little bit of power there. But as you say, it certainly seems soft enough to me to.
Feels like a half decent fish.
Well, the way it went off, I actually thought it would foul up, but
yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm going to give it back to you because the ridicule I'd receive if I lost this fish.
If you lost that,
now,
I've had it on for 40 minutes.
It feels like that. But no, it certainly seems to be everything's in control. It's got a nice action to it. It looks nice. I mean, it's a distance tool. I thought, and maybe this is my own wrong conception of things, but I was expecting maybe to have some slightly bigger eyes in the butt there, but it certainly doesn't seem to hamper the casting and that. But I just, in my eye, I thought like a real distance rod, then you know, you sort of have that bottom eye a bit bigger. And
do you think so?
But I don't know. I mean, at 12'6", it's not putting itself into
not 13 or 14.
Yeah, it's not the big guns, is it? But it's certainly a casting rod.
Absolutely. I mean, as I said, we haven't really pushed it to its limits yet, have we? And it's always difficult when you get a new rod. But I mean, that first, I had one miscast before I landed it where I landed it now, and it wasn't the distance that was the problem. It was my sort of.
But you do that with rods, don't you? You get a new rod, and you'll cast with it, and you it's like a pole as well. You know, things like that. You learn what you can do with them. You know, and because you don't want to break it, do you?
No.
So you don't sort of go and whack it first time. You build into it. You build confidence.
It does feel like it's foul up, Davis. To me, you shouldn't foul hook a fish on a Hyman feeder, should you? But it just look at that. What's that?
Possibly.
Well, it's around its fin, maybe. I don't know.
I think it's just the way you're playing it, to be honest with you, Tom.
Take your time, love.
Yeah. Just remember, there's some rocks down here, mind, as well. We don't want it rubbing us off on the rocks. Just a little bit of advice. I'm just putting it out there.
You're a wily old sage, aren't you?
I am. Do you want me to land it for you as well?
I'd love you to.
We weren't really ready, were we?
No, it caught us unawares, but anyway, testament to the venue. If it goes round like that every chuck.
Yeah, I like Boddington.
Matt told me I'd have to wait at least half an hour for a bite. Matt Godfrey, when he was advising on this.
Well, he's renowned for not telling the whole truth.
Here we go. Here it is. Oh, it's a large one.
Look, it's foul hooked in the mouth.
Foul hooked in the gob.
That's a nice fish, that is, isn't it?
Even Jack the cameraman was surprised. We've got to know. Wow, you're not meant to talk, Jack.
He's not used to seeing you catching fish, that's the trouble.
Here he comes.
Oh,
Come here, me old beauty.
Oh, look at him. He's for the taking now.
Or is he going to go on one more little?
No,
he's not, is he?
He's done. If you let that go now, there's a problem. Wafter's still outside the mouth. Oh, look at that.
Get in the onion
Look
sack,
at the tail on that.
And the fish ain't bad either, is it?
Look at that.
How big's that?
That's like 15 pounds.
We've got the old looking map behind us. So
right,
should we have a little look at him?
Are we going to do it properly? We're going to do it like specimen style.
Yeah, we're going to cut there, folks. We'll show you the fish on the net and then we'll get it back out. Well, Dave, can't fault that, can you, for a start to the day?
Nice fish that, isn't it, Tom? That's first cast.
First cast, got to be 12 pound, isn't it?
Yeah, we like that all day long.
Wow, I think that rod and reel need a bit more testing, don't you?
Yeah, that's a good fish to start us on, though, isn't it? Let's get it back.
Let's slip him back and see if we can get another. Well, it had been out about 5 minutes Second cast of the day, and round she goes again on the white wafter, Dave.
I'm thinking that whole 6 pulls during the day thing. I think we can be setting our sights a bit higher than this, Tom. This is all right. It's easy, this carp fishing in the winter, isn't it?
It does seem it, doesn't it?
Maybe it's because we're pleasure fishing.
Matt did say he was expecting to catch a few fish pleasure. He said 6 fish would be about what we'd expect, but
well, we're 2 in the first half hour, so
2 in the first half hour, you can't knock it. Right, I want to talk a little bit now about the reel. We talked about the rod last time.
Yeah.
Just give me some thoughts on it. First impressions, what you've seen, what you think.
Right, okay, well, I've used Browning reels before, many years ago. Browning have done reels for a long time, haven't they? And it's a big operation, isn't it, Browning?
Yeah.
And so it looks how I expect a Browning reel to look, to be honest. It looks quite nice, quite understated in a way, maybe. Not, lots of flash graphics and everything. It's quite sort of, sort of the body's nice and plain, which is, why not, you don't need lots of fancy stuff on there. I like the size of the spool, size of the bail arm, this big bail arm and everything, big rollers. It gives you that, it's a powerful reel, and it's got all the features to enable you to cast far and wind in powerfully and quickly. Absolutely.
A couple of key things that struck me. First of all, the spool. I love the fact that it's quite shallow.
This is the spool, Tom, just to show people.
Dave, you've just disrupted my side tray.
What? Well, that's not my problem, Tom. This spool, this is what I liked, is it's got this hollow, it's got these slats in the spool. And this apparently says that the line can dry from either side.
That's correct.
And also, it's a very shallow spool. It'll take, what did it say? It takes 300 metres of 016. Well, we're not really using 016 for this sort of game, are we?
No.
More like 024, something like that. So, a relatively small amount of line. But you can see the shape of the spool it's designed for a good long cast, and almost simplifies that whole getting the backing right. If you've got a deep spool, you've got to get backing right. You've got to think. It's not the easiest job in the world, and it's easy to get wrong, isn't it?
For a tight Yorkshireman, it's brilliant as well, because let's be honest, I would never cast further than about. Well, I'm being optimistic when I say I'd never cast further than 100 yards. I don't think I've ever cast 100 yards, but certainly not going to cast any further than 100 yards.
From what I've seen today, no, you wouldn't be casting 100 yards.
Stop it, Dave. Have I not? I've had 2 fishing 2 casts.
You have. And they're obviously on different lines.
Just rude. It's plain rude. But no, so it is that first 100 yards of line that matter. And to be honest, I'd rather be able to change that regularly and quickly. If I were doing a lot of this kind of fishing, then just strip it off and use the stuff underneath, because you can have the spool loaded perfectly for casting that way. It's just a nice idea, better than a deeper spool, I think, more practical.
I do like them yourself. I've used Browning reels before, and they all seem to give me, what you want. There's power there and what have you. But Browning are a massive company. It's part of the Zebco group, isn't it? And, been around for a long time. Well, I think German based.
Yes. Let's talk about that. Sorry to change the subject, but it strikes me at this stage that the action of that rod, that's lovely, isn't it? It's got some smaller fish this time, sort of 6-8 pound, but it's really giving us a run round off the rod end, and we're having to keep that upward pressure on it, like we said, because of the rods. But look at the action on that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, is there? Just tell me, what ounce tip have we got in that one?
I think that's a 3.5 ounce tip. That's the biggest one supplied. There's 3 supplied, isn't there? With the
half ounce ones, isn't it? So there's 1.5, 2.5, and 3.5.
Singing. Hear it singing.
Singing
to
to
us.
Singing, yeah. That's it.
Is there a finer noise for the angler?
It is nice, isn't it?
Oh.
Now we will have to have a listen in a minute. We'll have to have a listen to the drag on the reel, because I'm quite into drags on reels.
Oh yeah, we'll do that with the next one. We'll swap seats for the next one.
I'm all about acoustics with drags. I like it.
Oh, far too faffy for me. Because I'm playing it on the back line, so you're the perfect person to test the drag.
It's a nice fish, that is.
Nice common, isn't it?
We've had a mirror. We've had a common.
Not happy, sir. Not happy.
No, he's not happy, but he's in the net.
You've got him.
He's in the net.
Oh, beautiful.
I make a good gilly, don't I?
Absolutely. You want to do it for a living.
Well, look at that.
Beautiful fish. Should we slip that one straight in the keep net?
Yeah.
What is it, £10?
Yeah, it's £10 that one, Tom.
Bottom
lip as well.
I'll tell you what, I like to tell you we've got the hook out there.
I'm quite dexterous, you know.
Aren't you just? Lovely fish. Number 2.
Now, just to explain to people who are watching, we are fishing with a hybrid feeder.
Guru hybrid feeder.
We are fishing with soak micros.
The mainline. I think mainline essential, they call it, something like that.
And we've got a nice little white wafter.
Great advice I've been given for this venue. So it seems up to now. I might not be saying that if we don't get any more, but yeah, fishing soaked micros. Soaked until the middle of the micros are still a little bit hard, so you can really squeeze them on the feeder, but you know they're going to break down. And obviously just presenting the white wafter on a little bait spike on the QM1 hook.
Now I've noticed a couple of things, Tom, which tells me that you don't do a lot of this game.
Oh, fire away! Come on.
The feeder generals will be telling us that first of all, you don't seem to have a butt rest on the rod.
No.
Now
I do though.
Now, these days it's not allowed. You're not allowed to put it across your knee, are you?
Oh right. Okay.
You're not allowed to have that rod across your knee. For years, that's how I fished. I still do on the river.
I thought I was on best behaviour, not having it resting on my keep net.
No. Well, that's it. So yeah, so you haven't got a butt rest.
Right. Okay.
Now the other thing that's concerning is we're fishing a quick stop.
Yeah.
And I'm putting the quick stock on with a pole float
Yeah.
stem. Is that your preferred method, or do you sometimes buy a quick stop spike?
I've got a lot of old pole floats. I always use a pole float stem. It's just great. And you know the best thing about it? Drop it in the water, it floats.
There's less chance of me doing this sort of fishing, but I feel like I'd be better prepared for it.
I'm inclined to disagree, seeing how you prepared before on various commercial ventures. Rough-arsed river angler would be my description of you.
And I couldn't argue with it, Tom, to be honest. But hey, listen, it's doing the job though, isn't it? Eh?
Yeah, that's it, mate. It's
that little white wafter there.
I'd pull that little rubber around. You see, you, as usual, Dave, you're neglecting the finer nuances of presentation. We've got a little rubber there on the hook. We need to use it. We need to pull that round, I reckon, halfway around the bend.
I'll tell you what, you're talking about faffy. That's faffy.
No, it's right. And it sucks it in. It just brushes the lip and ooh, matron.
Right, so we're loading. I don't even know if I'm loading this right.
I'd give them a squeeze. Give them bottom pellets a good squeeze first before you put your wafter on.
Well, made a nice
So I don't do a lot of this fishing. Come on, Davs.
Well, to be honest, are you?
Firm them down first. That's it. Give them bottom ones a good push. You haven't watched any of the Guru bite-size videos, have you?
No.
And then that's it. And the
do they not use a mould for this sort of thing? Or?
Not for a hybrid, no.
Is that right? Okay.
No.
Well, that's why you're sat with two carp in the net in the first half hour, and I'm sat here not holding the rod.
I haven't let you have a go.
You didn't trust me for this, did you?
You can have a go now.
No, it's fine. You have a go. I want to see you cast this.
And Matt said in his broadest Yorkshire accent, squeeze it as hard as you can. Go on.
It's lucky I didn't break the feeder.
Tell you what, mate.
Go on then, wang it out. Let's see this, Tom.
I'm going to stand in
Let
the
the
box and
folks
do
at
it.
home see just the machine that you are.
Well, you know, we'll have a go.
Has anybody ever cracked off on camera before?
Well, it could be a first time with me be out doing this, but we'll have a go at it. And here she goes.
Oh, you give that a whack. Listen, it's singing off. Oh, and he's hit the clip as well.
Beautiful. Low. Punched low, didn't I? Did you see me?
He did punch low, that was very good, that was, Tom.
Did you like the technique?
I like the technique. I'll tell you what would be even nice now if you put it into the butt rest.
It's on the butt rest.
Oh, it's on the butt rest. Yeah.
And the thing I like about this butt rest, you can have it at 4 different levels. I've got levels at 25mm increments all the way down the side of my seat box.
Oh dear.
Well, that didn't take long, did it? Kicked off the box.
Well, you've had 2 in 2 chucks, so I mean it's only fair if we're going to get this done. You know, I mean it's only right I have a go, and because we know I'll give it a proper test, like. You know?
Absolutely. You have been known to pull a bit, haven't you?
I'm a good puller.
I want to talk now about reels, specifically that reel on there, the Browning Black Viper. Give me your initial thoughts then.
Okay, so first of all, I've used Browning reels before.
Yeah.
Many years ago in all fairness, I haven't used for a long time, but there was always a thing with Browning. They just always were very good reels, you know, and I think it's that, you know, that whole, they're sort of a German-based company, aren't they? And they're very, you know, it's quite an understated reel, hasn't it? It's not got lots of flashy graphics and what have you and that. It's just a good solid bit of kit. It seems to me to have the sort of winding power. I feel like a stuck record talking about reels, but for me it's all about that winding power. You know, you're fishing at a long distance, you're bringing back either a reasonably heavy feeder every time or a fish.
That's
and
right.
It's not the pressure on the reel is not when you're casting, it's when you're winding in. So that for me is I like to see how it feels when you're winding it back, and that certainly seems to have that, all the drive and all the mechanisms and whatever the correct terminology is, it all seems right to me.
I think it comes back to what you've just said there. You know, they are like any item of fishing tackle, I suppose. a tool to do a job. But the thing with a rod is we get a little bit more, how can I put it, aroused, for want of a better way to put it, with a rod, because it's all about the feel and the bend and the curves and the, oh.
I do worry about you, Tom, talking about arousal and rods.
But with the reels, it's not like that, is it? It's a tool to do a job. It gets the feeder out there when you cast, and it gets the fish back.
And you never, I suppose as well, you're never really aware of it. I suppose that's the side of a good reel, is if you're not aware of it, it's doing the job. You're never looking at the reel, are you? You're looking at the rod quite often because you want to see what the fish is doing, which direction it's going.
Yeah.
But with reels, you're never looking at them, so they're just sort of they're forgotten about. But you don't forget about them if they're not working properly. I know that much.
That's exactly it. Price point on that, 120 quid.
Yeah.
Ish. Pick up a bit less, I think, some places.
Yeah.
Which I think is a great price for a really good quality product.
Yeah, I think it puts itself in that bracket. And there's I wouldn't say that's you know, there are different brackets with reels, aren't there? And this sort of reel where you're moving into the biggest sort of stuff, you know, your feeder reels. You know, there is a wide range of reels, and like you pointed out earlier, you could spend £400 or £500 on a reel.
Spend more. You spend up to £1,000 on a reel.
But
on some reels.
But I suppose it's what you want from a reel, or how long you want it to last, and you know, as we always say, we don't know how this is going to stand up over a test of time. You know, of 3 years of fishing. If you did this sort of fishing every week, how would it look after 3 years? I don't know, but generally, from what I've seen of Browning gear, it looks like it's well made and made to last.
Absolutely. It, as you say, I mean, that might be true. It might be the case that if you spent 500 quid on a reel, it would last a little bit better.
Only if you looked after it, though.
Well, I was going to say, you know, I've had some expensive reels in the past, and to be honest, they've all ultimately failed after indefinite periods. Never more than about 3 years, to be honest.
I don't look after things well enough I wouldn't be a good judge, be able to judge a good piece of equipment on the way I treat stuff. Really, I'm not into cleaning fishing kits and stuff like that. So.
No.
A reel like that, if I got 3 years out of that, I'd be more than happy.
Put yourself, I'm going to ask you, you know, put yourself in the paying customer.
Swans are coming, Tom.
Oh, so that. John Wilson once said on a video, they just glide over the top of the line, they never get caught in it, and he's right. Have you ever caught a swan?
No, in all fairness, I haven't. But I do find them quite annoying creatures, considering they're classed as a serene creature and they're sort of beautiful and that, but they just hiss at you a lot, and they're just angry. They're angry people, you know.
Like women.
Well, to be honest, yeah, that's probably a fair comment.
Good. I want to say one more thing about Browning reels and just Browning generally with the products like that. To me, they've done some great products over the last few years, and that sort of improvement curve is getting even steeper. The stuff they're doing is getting better and better all the time. And I think, you know, the fact that obviously Browning, owned by Zebco, owned by WC Bradley, or the same company that own Preston, the fact that those two companies are working together, albeit not directly and visibly, is seeing some improvements. It was interesting, I was looking at a model of that Black Viper the other day and comparing it to the Preston Extremity reels, and it's virtually interchangeable. The spools fit on from one reel to the other, the drive, the handles, you know, you can just tell it's obviously been worked on by a team of engineers who develop tackle for Preston as well as for Browning. So you've got a lot of knowledge there between those two companies, and it's great to see it being put to the effect to get the best product. Really.
It's a big machine, isn't it? That is a big company, and it's and obviously it's going to bring out the best. I think. Tell me something though. It's an absolute minor point, but name Black Viper. Where's that come from?
Browning have had some great names over the years, haven't they? You know, of all. Well, why not, Dave? Black Viper. Why the devil not?
Black Viper. It sounds. I don't know. Here comes the swans again. Look. Serenely swimming past. Oh, yeah, they'll come and hiss at us now. Look. Yeah, they'll just sit there and.
They're just sitting right where you want to be.
Do it in unison though, don't they? They work very well together.
Now they're going back to try and eat any bait we've left. No, it's I think it's a nice name. I like it.
Black Viper. I'm not sure about it.
At least it means something. A lot of tackle companies drag a name out from nowhere that means nothing.
What? Viper means snake, surely.
It means something that's a weapon that can be used and utilised to destroy the opposition with venom.
No. not having that. You're getting a bit excited about that, Tom. I'm not sure. Black viper. It is black, I suppose. That's the other thing, and perhaps it's got a bit of bite. Could that be it?
Yeah, why not?
It's
only getting old and boring.
Yeah, perhaps I am.
What would you call it? Real feeder, real one.
I'd call it the black beast.
Well,
and that'll be an end to it. And then the next version will be Black Beast 1 and Black Beast 2 and Black Beast 3.
Okay, we'll leave that one there.
Well, it's been a good start, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, two very quickly.
Here you go.
3? No.
Hey? It goes to show it just wasn't you being good, it was me as well.
Well, to be fair, mate, it's, you obviously learnt very well, didn't you? Hey, obviously took on board what I was showing you.
In all fairness, you did cast it out, I'll give you that, but I was sat on the rod.
Right. You mentioned you're a fan of a drag on a reel. I, as you can work out, always play off the back line, nearly always.
It's not strictly true. I shouldn't say I'm a fan of the drag, but I've started using drags more. But I'll use the drag with the back wind. I'd never fish with just with the back wind engaged or unengaged, whatever the way. But you know, I do like these days. I do like to hear. You know, I like hearing a clutch, and I just like having it there as a backup, especially probably more so when I'm fishing on the river and things like that. You know, when you just want that extra. Just if you get it wrong sometimes, you know, when you get to that netting point, if a fish lunges, it just gives you that little bit of safety thing. And I've done it more with pellet waggler fishing and things like that, where I do use the drag more and more. But I think it's an important part because drags make different noises, and it just, to me, there's just something. I like that. That's nice and smooth. It's not too tinny. Yeah. It's, you know.
What are your thoughts then on the reel?
It's really fine. Like I say, it's just a very, you know, it's very simple, straightforward. You can see the mechanisms and how it's built, and it's obviously well built. I feel like it's a reel that's going to last. It's got power. The spools we've mentioned we like, so yeah, I've got no problem. Yeah, no, absolutely.
And the rod?
Well, the rod's just, yeah, look at it. It's just, you know, you're in control. It feels like a very powerful tool for the lightness. You know, it feels quite a light rod, but when you actually sort of like this, we're engaged with the fish now. You know, it's got everything. I'm in control. I could probably bully this fish if I had to or wanted to, but I'm not going to want to. But yeah, it's spot on. It's a nice bit of kit. So I haven't done any casting. I'm going to do some casting with it in a minute and just have a feel. You know, you've been doing all the casting so far. So
a little cast off, can't we?
Well, a little cast off, yeah. Well, but then that's not fair because you've been casting the first 3 or 4 chucks. So there we go. Look at that.
A large mirror.
Ooh, yeah.
Get him in the onion sack. Oh, he's a good one. He's a humpty back thing, isn't he?
Yeah, we like those. Oh, look at that.
Look at the shuffle. You like the shuffle?
I like that shuffle.
You see what I did there?
I did. So yeah, no, I'm rod and reel.
That's a good fish, that.
Look at the depth of that.
15 pounds.
Shock, I've sat on the box and had the biggest fish of the day. Look at that.
Hey, cracker, isn't it?
I'll tell you what, you can't teach that, Tom, you know?
Well, how to catch a fish using somebody else's presentation, somebody else's feeder, and offering nothing but scorn on the feeder fishing world. That's all I've seen from you.
You've either got it or you haven't.
What, I discord you?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm looking
there's one in there somewhere.
Yeah, but I've got this one's a really small one.
There's a big one, a big blue and a Preston one.
No, I think I stole that one earlier. Let's have a go with that. That's a deep fish, that, isn't it?
Lovely fish, isn't it? Big old, great fish, aren't they? Sort of big, powerful. Them QM1s really do bury in as well, don't they?
They do. That one's got him right in the corner.
Some pliers as well, if you want them.
You might come down to that. Oh, I've got a big blue discorder. We had it here.
What are you mumbling on about now?
I've got it, Tom. It's all right. Don't panic.
Yes,
Captain
that's what I like to see. Keep the old whip line fed. Because I think it's nearly time for a go on the whip, isn't it?
Oh, just when I've caught a carp now, we're going to go straight to change.
All right, we'll have a bit longer carp fishing, and maybe I can have a look what's inside your bag.
Well, I know you're intrigued what I've bought, Tom. So we'll have a look. Let's just have a look at this fish. See if I can hold it up for the cameras, though, because you know, when you're used to catching big fish.
Look at that.
Come on, mate.
Look at the belly on it.
Look at that. What a fish.
Stunning.
I like winter carp.
Absolutely beautiful.
Oh, there you go.
Back in there.
I like a bit of winter carping. It's
you
all right.
Enjoyed yourself now, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm not going to put him in the net. I'm going to put him back.
Get him in the onion sack. Come on. No, we might need a picture later. Come on, get him in there. Big pot-bellied things just caught a lovely mirror.
Feels good. So then, Tom, the early bagging action seems to have subsided a little bit, and it seems like we're having to wait for bites now, which is what we expected, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But it gives us the opportunity to approach our item that's fast gaining cult status, the what's in the bag feature.
What is it in your bag?
Now,
this.
Have a look at this bag, Tom. This is specially for you. Look at that.
Straight out of Yorkshire.
Hey? But that's just for you, that is.
What a guy.
Yeah. Now, I'm gonna hand you things out of the bag. So this is quite topical for this sort of fishing as well. So the first thing I'm gonna hand you, Tom, is a nice little thermos flask.
I wasn't sure whether it was a flask or one of your toys, Dave, that you use.
No, that's a flask, Tom. All right. Okay. Now, if you'd like to put that on your side tray there, okay.
You sure that's a flask?
It's a flask. Come on, Tom. Don't mess around now. I've got you a jumbo sausage roll.
Look at this.
Huh?
It's in date as well, I'm surprised.
Yeah, that's right. No cheap stuff here. And then possibly the finest ever fishing snack, a Tunnock's wafer.
Oh, now then.
Now, I've handed you those. Not an item of tackle, admittedly.
No.
However, I think it raises a debate on a wider subject. Now, this sort of fishing, you see it, don't you? I see on people's angling reports, well, I'm ready for the match. I've got my snack set up and they've got all this set up and and I understand it. In this sort of fishing, like you say, when you're sat here waiting for a bite, I get that. My sort of wider concern is angling, and in particular match angling now I'm talking about. Do we market ourselves in the right way as to gain the audience of youngsters?
Right.
So, you'll have had this, I have this. You go to a wedding or a family do, and they say, oh, how's your fishing going? Because everybody knows you as the fisherman, you know.
Yes,
and they say, how's your fishing going? And I think, yeah, not too bad. And they go, you take a thermos and a packed lunch with you and that. And my first reaction is generally to sort of face slam them into the buffet table. And then I sort of just try and get off the subject, you know. It's not, you just don't want to talk about it, do you? It just gets awkward because they think, oh yeah, that's the other thing. You sat there in a deck chair and, you know, I've devoted all my life and all this money to sitting in a deck chair. So we try and show ourselves as being sportsmen to a point, don't we?
Yeah.
And ultimately, if we're going to get funding in angling and bring youngsters into angling and everything that goes with it, I didn't actually realise you were going to eat it. We've got to steer away from that image, haven't we, of things. So obviously we sort of, there's some good things that go on, and as we've spoken about before, there's companies who do tackle this subject, you know, and they're sort of trying to attract youngsters. But ultimately, until you take away that sort of stigma, or not stigma, but that stereotype of the deck chair and the lunchbox and the flask, are we really going to attract the people we need into sport, or are they just not attractable in this day and age?
That's a brilliant question.
Thank you.
Right, so you do see a lot of posts about this sort of fishing, this sort of eating of snacks, and people all that. The classic one for me was always Phil Ringer and what biscuits have they got on the side?
Yeah.
And we all know it's not high octane stuff, this. It's sitting and waiting for the odd bite in winter, isn't it? But carp fishing's a lot more popular with young anglers than match fishing. And that's sitting a lot longer.
So in that instance then, is it better, if we're going to attract more people into the sport in general, forget match fishing, is it better to market it as that, as a relax, the bivvy, the cooking of food, the drinking of whatever? Is it better to go down that route, or is it, you know, as match fishing as ourselves, do we have to make it more high octane? Do we have to make it more, you know, do we have to be more sportsman-like, as in, you know, none of us are particularly sort of athletic, you know. Obviously, I know I am, but
the only exception to the rule, that's a swan, not a carp.
That's a swan, that is. Yeah, it's like we don't look after ourselves, and, you know, we eat fried breakfast and sausage rolls and things like that. And it's like, is there a point where we have to become, as many other sports have had to become, a little bit more sports orientated, or you know, to actually behave like sportsmen, to make match fishing attractable to youngsters?
I think it's two sides to it in my mind. I mean, first of all, I think the biggest thing with this is a lot of, match fishing is a very individual thing. Like, it's such a diverse thing. I mean, you look at that West Midlands Canal circuit. This is a prime example. Like, big matches, 60 to 80 peg matches, fishing narrow canals with all pole fishing, mainly sort of top kit or whipped up to 11 metres. I mean, we fish longer sometimes, and it's a real culture in itself. Joker fishing, mudworm fishing, squat fishing, big matches, big turnouts. That couldn't be further removed from something like this.
No.
It couldn't even be further removed, really, from commercial fishing or certain kinds of commercial fishing. So match fishing in itself is such a diverse thing. And everybody, and I think I've certainly been guilty of this in the past, is guilty of wanting to inspire people to come into fishing for the reasons that they got into fishing, almost. It's like, you like to think that everyone's like you. Do you know what I mean? Hey, coffee on the go in there, is there?
While you're talking, Tom, carry on.
That's a part of it, isn't it? It's like people want to always assume that everyone wants to be like them. Now, the problem I've got with, we need to be the sport of the, present ourselves better, be more professional, not do this sort of thing. Be the one, look a bit better on the bank, look after ourselves. No, there's loads of sports for people who look after themselves. Let them go play football if they want, or go running. Fishing's always been for the fat lads like me who like a cooked breakfast and 6 pints on a Saturday night. Always has been, always will be. What's the problem?
But you cannot get away from the fact that we are not attracting the amounts of youngsters into the sport that we should.
No, I agree with that.
And my point is just generally, is it the way we are perceived, or do we maybe need to buy into that even more? Maybe buy into that perception even more, that you do attract the likes of the kids who aren't that sporty, who perhaps are a little bit diverse, because you do it. I mean, you don't like to. No one should be. No youngster should have it that they should, that they should be a particular way. Oh, you've got to be into football. You've got to be sporty. You've got to be things. So maybe by doing that, maybe we damage ourselves. Maybe if we do market ourselves as being the diverse and go, well, actually, you can be a Jamie Hughes, you can be an Andy Bennett, you can win 50 grand, and you don't need to be.
Two perfect examples you've just mentioned, right? They aren't athletes, quite the opposite. They are heroic anglers to the younger generation. Those two names you've just mentioned are admired more than any other young anglers I know by young anglers. They're looked up to him. Jamie Hughes is a hero to like the young anglers I speak to. Andy Bennett is, and they, I just feel that fishing is its own thing. We don't need to be more like anything else. It's got its own identity. I think the worst thing we can do is maybe try and make the sport something it's not. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So in some ways that does beg the question: have we damaged the sport by trying to be a sport? Has it gone too far the other way now?
I just happen to believe that everything we can do to get youngsters into fishing in every angle has to be encouraged, and we have to do more of it. But if the underlying problem that youngsters don't find fishing attractive at this time or whatever is there, we're not going to be able to single-handedly fight that. If it's a culture that's going against us, we're not going to fight that. But I do feel there's a massive chance that culture will change, and that all of a sudden we'll have loads of youngsters fishing again. I'd say there's more youngsters fishing now than there was when I was younger. Like, of my age group, there certainly seems to be more coming through. There's very few between sort of 30 and 35. There seems to be a real lull at that time.
We've lost a generation. That is, by the way.
Lovely.
We do seem to have lost a generation, don't we?
Yeah, and I think as well though. That little indication. Was that bite? It moved, didn't it? It moved.
It did move, Tom.
Not my knee, is it? No.
No, your butt rest's not really working properly.
My butt rest's in great shape. No, I think it's more a culture thing. I really do. I think and I do believe it could well come back into vogue a little bit, because at the minute everybody's vegan mad, aren't they? And save the environment mad and all this.
You're not a vegan, Tom.
There'll come a point where they realise we are hunter-gatherers. We enjoy, the reason we like fishing is the thrill of the outdoors and catching wild fish. Oh, that's on, isn't it? No.
You said it was. Well, you're striking at that.
What's that? You slapping that clutch off nice.
I wanted to hear what the clutch is like because we've talked about the reel. But I like the sound of the clutch. Not a bad sounding clutch, is it?
Oh.
It'd be even better if you had a fish on you.
Silky.
You're going to have to get rid of that.
Yeah. I hand you the rod for 1 minute and I pick it up and there's a loop in the line.
Wasn't me.
No, I think we've gone vegan crazy at the minute. Environmentally crazy, all that. You'll come back, though. People need to realise we're hunter-gatherers at the end of the day. We love the outdoors. We actually protect the outdoors. Angling's actually good for the environment. We're miles of riverbank and canal bank. We are the guardians of it, really.
John Wilson, right, I remember one of his early videos when he was pike fishing, and it was actually, his point was about live baiting, which is something actually I don't really want to do or be a part of. But
yeah.
John made the point, and I thought it was, and it's always stuck with me, is he said that, you know, most men, I think he was talking about men, he said we've got a hunter-gatherer instinct.
Yeah.
He said, and we've got an aggression. We've all got an aggression in us, and it comes out with different people. And some people just want to go out on a Saturday night and have a tear up and fight the world, and that's how they do it. Some people go to extremes and they want to, you know, beat up old grannies or mug people or steal things or whatever. As fishermen, we're just exercising that instinct in a different way and in a generally harmless way. He said that was just how he chose to that was his outlet for that aggression or that hunter-gatherer thing, and it did stick with me. That I thought, he's right. We are, you know, everything's, you know, we do live in a world where everything's talk about equal rights and you know, men and women and equality and that sort of thing. But the reality is, the male of the species is more the aggressor, I would say, isn't it?
I've met some very aggressive women, Dave. I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's the effect you have on them, though, Tom. I'm going to eat this sausage roll now.
I've had a bite.
That's all you're having.
No, it's...
Okay then, so final question then. Do you think, does the examples we used, Andy Bennett, Jamie Hughes, do they see themselves as sportsmen?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know, I mean, they've put as much dedication and devotion into this sport, and I call it a sport, and I keep calling it a sport, even though others refuse to call us a sport.
Yeah.
But they've put as much time and devotion into this sport as any professional athlete or any professional sportsman would. Would you agree?
100%. And I think we need to stop being ashamed of what we are a little bit. Like, we're not going to make fishing cool. We're never going to make fishing cool. It is what it is. It's a brilliant way of spending the day, a way of like fathers and sons and families bonding together. And I've met all my best mates I've met fishing. It's, you know, it gives working men, generally white men, but not exclusively. You know, it's very popular among that demographic. It'd be great if there were more diverse demographics getting into it, but it's great, isn't it great that it's popular with the demographic that it is, and that we're getting all them people there, and they're all coming out, and then people would rather do this than anything else. So, as much as we should be trying to encourage more people in, it always bothers me when people start saying we should change, because people like fishing for a reason, you know?
Yeah. Do you know as well, something I've noticed, I've had a few days out recently with guiding on the river, where I've had sort of father and sons come in. And when I say father and sons, I'm not talking about middle-aged fathers and young sons. I'm talking about 60-year-old sons and 80-year-old fathers.
Yeah.
And it is the best thing in the world to be a part of.
Yeah.
But these two guys who've sort of gone through they've both lived a big old life. You know, 60 years old is not a young age.
Like a couple of years younger than you, isn't it?
I'm trying to make a serious point here, Tom.
Sorry,
right?
okay.
Constant baiting about my age.
Sorry.
I told you I'll make you look young. Anyway, but yeah, just that fishing can do that. I had a guy who was 84 years old, very good for 84, I have to say. Yeah. But you know, they were able to come together and have a day that they'll cherish. The son will cherish when his father's no longer here. Hopefully, that's, you know, the way it works out, and I hope he's not here for a lot longer. But fishing can do that, and I think it's like you say, it's important we don't forget that. And I like what you said actually about we shouldn't be ashamed of what we are.
No, it's and I love it, and well, I think that comes across really. The people in it, you know, I've interviewed some of a lot of anglers over the years, and some real characters, and some, you know, it's the best. I think it's the best sport in the world. But then again, I would, because I'm into it. So what else can you say, really?
No. So what we're saying is don't change, embrace what we are, and eat more Tunnock's wafers.
I'm going to finish the sausage roll actually.
Here.
Another thing, if we carry on eating like this, well, especially when we're fishing, then we're not going to get too old anyway, so it won't really matter.
Coronary is on its way. Brilliant. When's it my go anyway?
Well, then.
Well, he said there was roach in here, Tom, but that's I was hoping for something a bit bigger than that.
Well, there are some good roach in here. I've seen some nets of fish that Steve Ringer's caught before, £20 plus of large roach.
Yeah, no, I know it's good roach sport here, and often here the roach are getting overlooked because of the carp fishing, aren't they? So it's
Absolutely.
it's a thing. But so the Colmic Airform whips. Now, tell me a bit about these, Tom.
Well, they available in lengths from 5 to 8 metres.
Right.
The thing I liked about this when I first saw it, and the reason I wanted to bring it to review today, and basically, Dave, to be honest, to see what you thought of it, it felt to me an incredibly strong piece of kit. I mean, that weave down it really does give confidence, doesn't it? But I mean, I could feel, you know, that it was strong. Did you lose that one, Dave?
I don't know whether it was a fish or just the bottom or something. I'd let the whole judgment. Yeah, that weave that they roll, it's like a spiral weave all the way down here, isn't it? That's interesting, that is.
Yes.
I was interested to see what purpose that was serving. Is it a strength thing?
Yeah, it basically gives it strength. And I think it looks incredibly strong, it feels incredibly strong, but at the same time, it's very fishable.
Yeah. We're fishing the 6 metre version. We're fishing 6 metres to hand here. We've got a nice little 2 gram float on there. And yeah, just for standard whip fishing really, but it's it feels very balanced. I mean, look at that. You know, there's no floppiness in it, so that's the first point. The flick tip, we've already seen. I mean, that was only a small fish had there, but we've seen the flick tip is a real nice soft through action. You know, which it is important. You know, people think, oh, it's just we whip fishing. It's just a case of the tip needs to bend and then thing. But you're fishing a very direct. When you hook a fish, you're very direct to it with a flick tip, and you can't. It needs to have that soft cushion because you've got no elastic or anything like that. So it's the flick tip is important, and the way that kicks in when you've got those fish on matters. And I noticed in the flick tip that doesn't appear to be any flat spot there.
No.
Which is usually a sort of downfall of some whips, you know, when they've not been properly developed. You'll get a flat spot where the 2 bits of carbon join.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seems. I mean, this is for a 6 metre whip. It seems very usable, and like you say, feels strong as well.
That's what impresses me, to be honest, because I don't do a lot of whip fishing, but when I do it, that's been the thing I've done, you know, that's caught me out. I have occasionally broken the odd whip because, you know, they can be delicate things, can't they? Let's put it that way. But with that, I'd have a fair bit of confidence, really. Yeah,
I'd be interested to see what it's like if you took the flick tip out and elasticated it. Which you can do. It's got obviously the number, you know, the actual flick tip will come out and you can push the end. So, and I feel it feels like it would certainly have the strength for that sort of, you know, the sort of fishing that I do a lot of, which is, you know, catching weights of dace and roach to hand and that sort of thing. It's it looks like it would be perfectly capable for me. But it's a real nice way of fishing, actually, this, isn't it? We've got, like on this play, obviously there's a fair bit of tow on here today. So a 2 gram flow is moving through as fast as you'd have it on some of the slower rivers. I was going to say, you must feel right at home today with that. Yeah, I'm quite happy. Can't believe we've been messing around fishing for carp. So what do you look for then? What would you look for in a whip? What do you like about that? What don't you like? Okay, so I like. First of all, is the stiffness of it. It's just, even that, we've got a bit of a crosswind there, so I'm having to sort of keep an eye on the float and try and keep things in control. But the whip's not floppy. It's not, you know, thing. And when I strike, it's responsive. You know, look how straight that is. That's, you know what I mean. There's no flopping that at all. It's very, you know, this is when you're whip fishing, this is your control centre. You know, you just sort of, this is where you swing out from.
Like that control centre.
Well, it is, isn't it? It's it's straight as a die. There's no floppiness there. Whatever I do at this end of the pole reacts at that end of the pole. Got a real fine flick tip on there. I mean, that's a real nice.
You're not going to bump anything on that.
No.
Would you?
But then obviously once it kicks in, it's got to bend right through, and it bends down to probably, what's that, a metre or so, metre and a half down. There's the bend, and then you know, and that's the balance with whips, is whether you can keep a little bit of action in the top end, so it does bend, especially with flick tips. But then it needs to stiffen up, because it's got to stiffen up to keep it, to make it fishable at these longer lengths.
Yes.
And it certainly does that. It looks nice. It's, you know, I mean, what about Colmic? Colmic's another brand that have been around forever, and you know, again, in because they're not totally based here in the UK, you know, we see them come and go a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
So you know, they've not always got a massive presence, but they've been around for a long time, and you know, there's bits of equipment that they've done that just have been, you know, not legendary, but you know, big, you know, things like Colmic Jolly floats. That's one that sticks to mind. They've been around forever, wouldn't they? They were a brilliant float.
I've been very lucky. I've done a lot of work with Colmic over the years, both with the magazine and with Catch More Media, and I've been lucky enough to go over to their headquarters in Florence in Italy a couple of times, and it is, the range of tackle that company has got is incredible. The quality of the gear is fantastic. I mean, Italians. Oh,
That's a snag.
it's not a carp, is it? We have had a carp here before on this taxi.
I can assure you that's not a carp. Might be a hook length we've lost. Oh, no, we're all right. I am just going to put another shot on there though, Tom. This is one of your rigs, and you tend to be a bit shy with your shot.
Well, you've got to be able to see it in the old beauty, haven't you?
Yeah, but there's sailing boats trying to turn around that thing.
No, the quality of the stuff that they do, and the extensiveness of the range. As you say, we only see the tip of the iceberg really here in the UK. But the thing I do really like about them, it's something, you know, this product's a perfect example of it really. You'll never see, or I've never seen anyway, a bad Colmic product. The Italians are sticklers for quality.
Yeah.
Sometimes, as a brand, I think they're a bit not overpriced, but at the expensive end, you know, they make top end stuff and charge accordingly.
Yeah.
But in terms of the quality, it is fantastic gear, and I always feel like it's on the verge, Colmic, of becoming a major UK player. I think, like, you know, it wouldn't take much, because everything's in place. They've got fantastic products, great anglers promoting them, and you know, the team of reps they've got now, the team of agents are brilliant as well. So I think we'll see a lot more from them in the next.
I think that's the thing, is another little roach.
That is a little roach.
They're getting smaller, Tom.
You
told me they're up to £1 in here.
Especially how to catch one a pound.
No, not yet.
Cool, you've got to let me have a go. You've had a good 5 minutes on it now. I'll change the subject then.
I am going to, because we're talking about Colmic. No, yeah, so these Italian companies, and they're not on their own, there's a few of those Italian companies. They are, I mean, Italy is a massive hotbed for especially for match fishing equipment. But they do so much, like I say, we only see a little microcosm of what they do, because they bring products to the UK that will say a thing. But if you look at their catalogue, it's just immense.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a few of those Italian firms are like that. We just see bits and pieces.
Exactly.
Because no company would probably ever bring it all to the UK. But especially for some of the stuff that we do, you know, some of these, you know, some of our river fishing and that sort of thing. Here we go, this is a better one. Well, all right, slightly better. Oh,
and it's in the maggots.
He likes it in there.
The ground bait now.
Yeah, it's fascinating when you look at their catalogue and you realise this is a massive company, you know, and a lot of the time they're not just doing match tackle, they're doing sea fishing stuff as well. You just don't you don't see that, because, well, why would you? They wouldn't try and compete in that market in the UK.
Yeah,
but
they do everything, and as I said, it's all. I've not seen a single thing from them that I've thought, oh, that's another. You know, we call them Me Too products. You know, another product that everybody's doing that's middle of the road. You just don't get that. Everything they do is good.
Yeah. Do you reckon we'll get some of these bigger roach?
Yeah.
Or do you think you'll get some of these bigger roach?
I definitely will.
Yeah.
I understand the nuances of feed and presentation required. Catch them.
Well, you've been feeding for me.
The presentation has been lacking.
It's your rig. I've only just gone on it. You're going to build it up.
You had 4 hours to build it up while you've been slagging off feeder fishing.
I haven't slagged off feeder fishing at all. I loved it. Caught one. I don't catch carp that big normally. No, it does. It's a proper. It's got. You know, it's a proper reservoir. This is.
I'm going to say, what a great venue. You know, you can catch the carp out there. You come in here and there are roach. I mean, I actually feel today, maybe, I don't know what you think, Dave, but you know, with that bit of wind and a tow, maybe a short line approach would have been better. But you can't test a whip if you're going to fish short line.
Well, no, exactly. And in all fairness, there's a lot of times recently you wouldn't have even dreamt of setting up a pole on here anyway because of the wind.
No.
I imagine when it does get up on here, I mean, it does. But yeah. But so anyway, so back Boddington. Boddington is the place itself. Does appear in the Doomsday Book.
Does it?
Yeah. It's different name changes over the years. It's been known as different things. Boddington.
Yeah.
It's had many different spellings. They even had an L in it at one stage, Bodelton or something like that. In the 14th century, I read somewhere.
You're definitely getting old.
And
it's what you do of an evening, research this sort of thing.
If you're going to bring me to these places, Tom, I'm going to find out about them. Can't be? I need to know.
No,
but it's also the meaning of the word Boddington is listed in the Oxford Dictionary of Place Names as meaning a hill belonging to a man called Botter.
Ah.
There you go. See.
Nothing to do with the famous beer.
No.
Ah, that's Manchester, I think, Boddington, isn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah. Bayek Pet.
I will tell you a little bit about what I know about local. If one local history, I'll tell you what I know, and that is, a lot of these reservoirs. I don't know whether Boddington is one of these, but Drayton certainly is, which is obviously about 7 or 8 miles from here in Daventry, and there's several of them were actually built to top up the canals. That was what they were built for.
Okay.
To top up the Grand Union
Because there are
Canal.
quite a few around here, isn't there? In a small area, like.
Yeah, they were built as top up waters for the canal. I don't know where Boddington was though, as you say, it might be a bit far up for that. No, it's the Canal and Rivers Trust to control it. And I actually was having dinner last week with a man who stocked the carp in here. And made that decision to stock Drayton and Boddingtons with carp.
You rub shoulders with some bigwigs, don't you?
And what a great decision it turned out to be.
Yeah, certainly. It
was interesting. I asked him a question though, and I think you'll agree with his response. I said, well, why don't you do it more? It's obviously right, it obviously works, it attracts anglers. Why don't you stock more places with carp? And he said, no, we've got to keep some bream and roach. Makes sense, doesn't it? You know? Yeah. Anglers do like bream and roach, but in terms of a money spinner for the Canal and Rivers Trust or British Waterways, as is now,
carp is king.
Lovely.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, and they seem, as we've seen today, but the carp, they do seem to thrive in these big waters, don't they? They just pack on weight, and
it's perfect for them, though, isn't it?
I've seen some quite big. Recently, I've seen some of the specimen guys here and fishing, and 20+ pound carp, and I imagine they're probably over £30 in here now, are they?
Yes. I don't know whether they go 30 in here, but 20 plus certainly. Another thing I found out, I remember this correctly, the bailiff told me that there's only one bream ever been caught out of here. But
there's only one in the whole venue?
Been caught.
Oh, right, okay.
Or by in a match. It's called Glenn, because the guy who caught it was called Glenn, he told me.
That's fair enough.
But I do remember hearing, I'm sure, an old friend of mine, that's a very small, but it's still a roach, isn't it?
Yeah, a roach, bit of sport on a cold day, isn't it?
Yeah, the thing is, the flick tip, that's actually quite a good stamp fish to test it on, because they're the ones you'd bump if it wasn't right, weren't you?
Yeah, they're not really designed for this sort of thing, are they?
Go on then, it's definitely my turn now. 2 minute go.
Okay, you can.
And then we've got a casting competition, haven't we?
We have, yes. Considering I haven't cast out yet today, mind. I feel like I'm being slightly hamstrung here.
You can have a practice, my old beauty, if you
want.
want.
Have a go on that. That's a nice bit of kit, that whip. I've caught enough roach. I don't need to.
You're a master. I
don't need to.
I wanted your view on it because you are definitely expert in that field. The old feet are getting a bit cold now. Been over the welly. Right, we're in.
Ooh.
Right. So you fished a single maggot, didn't you?
Yeah.
I'm going to fish a double maggot.
Oof.
Coloured water, more visible bait. Let's see, you've got to change something. Have you ever jumped on somebody's box and not changed something? I always like to tweak.
I don't know. I don't like dropping. I generally don't like jumping on people's boxes. I feel like.
You're not?
No, I feel like I'll be breaking something.
Put that on that, I'll be impressed, but I don't think I can.
Do you know what I'd like to be fishing on here now?
Go on.
Casters.
Oh yeah.
I bet it's a great caster water, isn't it?
I love how you say that as well. You see, you Hereford people, you're a bit northern in how you pronounce things. Casters, not casters.
Well, that's the southern thing. They get casters down south.
There's a caster,
don't they?
man.
Casters.
Yeah, I like what you said there.
Casters. Shells.
It's like you say, it's light, it's responsive. Flicking that out was a dream, really. It's,
yeah, it's if a whip's, if it's not a great whip, then it becomes an effort to fish, doesn't it? You know,
yeah.
That's 6 metres, and in all fairness, a lot of my whip fishing on rivers and stuff is done at 6 metres.
Yes.
Albeit with elastic, you know, and that sort of thing. But that's perfectly fishable.
No, it's very, and you could fish with that all day, couldn't you?
Yeah.
I suppose at 6 metres you say you should be able to, really, but
it's a very positive way of fishing as well. We're fishing a slightly bigger float.
yeah, it's just dragging on a little bit there.
Yeah.
But I suppose it has to in that tail, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna stay here and wait. I wanna just decide what is to be my fate. Alone all by myself, I'm not just gonna stay here and wait.
So then, Tom, we've had some carp on the method feeder. We've had a go on the whip. We've had a lovely day. The sun's shining now, so we're about to end up. So we feel like we should perhaps end with a little bit of competition.
Absolutely. And why the devil not?
Yeah, and also in the process testing the rods accordingly. Yeah. So we've got the Middy rod here. So I think what we should do. You've been casting this all day. I haven't really had a proper cast today, so that's my excuse straight away.
But you're a powerhouse of a man.
Well, I am, and so I think basically you cast out wherever you cast to. We'll clip up, and I've got to hit your clip, and we'll see who comes out on top. So a little bit of friendly competition.
Yeah, one go each, and it's the longest cast.
One go each, and yeah.
Okay,
all right.
Let's do it.
Okay, I'll stand out your way a little bit.
I think you'll be all right. I'm not going to move. It's only fair, isn't it? I sort of stay rooted to the spot, I'd say. Right, here goes. The pressure's on, isn't it? The rod might break.
I'm going to take it down.
But by the feel of it all day, I don't think it will. It feels like an absolute powerhouse piece of kit. So, let's see.
Oh, that's a good cast, that is, Tom. Put your clip on. My God, it's nearly hitting the knot.
No. I feel like I brushed something behind me as well, but...
That's down to technique, that is, Tom.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'd been on top of the bank.
You can wind it
back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
You are making it.
"97 turns of the reel, so probably what, 75, 80 metres, I suppose.
Something like that. Right, we're going to load
feeder,
that feeder.
A proper feeder angle, but that impressed with that, wouldn't you?
It's not impressive at all, is it? We're just trying to outdo each other, aren't we? Right. Do you want to load my feeder for me?
I'd love to.
I loaded yours for you. So
You're a great guy. I'm not bothered what other people, what the wider angling public think of you, Dave. It's all wrong.
I know, I know.
You're a nice guy.
You will load it properly though, won't you?
Of course I will, mate.
I can't help but notice that sleeve's knocking off.
Look, the last thing I want to do is
sabotage my cast. Aerodynamics are everything. I need every bit of help I can get. Oh, you've been practicing all day.
Look, you're great.
This is the first time I've held this rod.
You're a fantastic angler and a great guy. Come on, me old beauty, let's see what you can do.
I think I'll crack off.
Smoothed off beautifully. Look at that. You happy with it?
It's quite aerodynamic. That'll do for me.
Come on then, me old beauty.
Right, okay. Just budge over a little bit.
Now, don't put your back out, will you?
No. I'm
not
putting,
it's like when you get to your age.
I'm not putting any extra effort in at all. I don't like that branch behind me there.
Well, I clipped it. You can clip it too. Come on.
No, I'll just go a little bit. I'll just give myself a little bit more. Right. We didn't have a marker. We weren't really aiming for anything, were you? Well, you didn't look like you were aiming for anything.
Distance, isn't it, mate? Power.
Right.
Technique.
Okay, here we go.
This is going to be big.
It's going to be big.
That is big. That is big.
Oh, I missed your clip there.
Oh, sorry,
I think you've probably added on a couple of yards to that, but
you're well off anyway. Winner! Winner!
Can I have another practice? You've been practicing all day.
No, we had the deal, mate.
All right, okay. I will bow out gracefully.
No, it's all seriousness now.
It chucks it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Final thoughts on the rod.
Yeah. No, that's. I mean, that's a good chuck there. You could chuck that, and you felt like if I got it right, you could chuck it a fair bit more. In all fairness, and like I said, that's a good whack with a 12.5-foot rod.
95. Yeah. I haven't looked exactly what a turn is, but I'd imagine it's going to be 70 to 80 metres. We've just cast there, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a nice bit of kit, that, Tom.
It is fantastic for the price. I think a lovely bit of kit. The reel, I think, is outstanding.
Yeah.
I think. Value for money wise, you can certainly see why these have been popular among the feeder anglers who maybe don't like to follow the fashion. That's how I describe it.
Don't like to follow the fashion, but they like a dirty name, the Black Viper.
A dirty name and a great product.
Yeah. No,
and the whip?
Whip, lovely, yeah. What you expect, like Italian, it's just well made, well balanced, nice to use. I'd like to use that a bit more if I'm honest. So, yeah, no, impressed with that. And impressed with Boddington as well.
What a lovely venue.
Fair play. It's not. I mean, it's a nice day now. The sun's out and everything, but it's not been warm, is it?
No.
But no. There's plenty of fish in here, so.
Absolutely, folks. Thank you very much for watching. As always, if you've enjoyed the review, please give this video a like, a share, a comment. Always appreciated, and it will help us do more videos like this in the future. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.